I'm Tammy Jones, and I am the 2014 U.S. Amateur Champion.
I'm Linda Wang, and I'm the 2017 U.S. Amateur Champion.
My name is Dana Aft, and I am the 2013 U.S. Amateur Champion.
My name is Kenneth Brisbane, and I am the 2014 U.S. Amateur Champion! Yes! Yeah, baby!
Good afternoon, Pool Player Nation. Jason Bowman, APA here, and we are just over 1 week away from our first major pool championship in well over a year. Of course, I'm talking about the U.S. Amateur Championship in Tampa, Florida, and I'm joined by the defending U.S. Amateur Champion, Blake Baker. Blake, last time I saw you, you had just secured the U.S. Amateur Championship against Bobby Stovall, November 2019. Obviously, a few months later, the world would change, right? Quite a bit due to COVID. I'm curious what have you been up to since the last time I saw you down in Tampa?
Well, like you said, kind of COVID just put a damper on a lot of things. But we decided that we had a baby who was ironically born on April Fool's Day, April 1st, and we decided Vegas was not the spot for the baby. And everything getting shut down, all the tourists still coming in, it's like, we don't want to have any chances whatsoever and would be more responsible about it. So we went up to Spokane, Washington, where my fiance's parents live, and pool scene's pretty decent out here. So we knew that I could still play pool and we'd have a little help with the baby and be safe from the pandemic. So it's kind of win-win-win from everything. And yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of life changes right there. Relocating and a baby during the pandemic. We'll jump into the pool stuff, but I got to ask, what is parenthood like? How is that treating you? You got a little boy, little girl?
Man.
What do we?
Little girl. She's just turned 11 months, and man, she's the most precious thing and best thing that's ever happened to me by far. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah. What's the little lady's name?
Aurora.
Oh, that's beautiful,
yeah.
Aurora.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And life in Spokane, what's that like? I mean, that's got to be a lot different than Vegas, I assume.
A lot different. Well, luckily I bought a 9-foot Gold Crown from Vegas, and I brought it with me here, and it's in the house, so I'm able to play on that every day. And with pandemic, luckily we just opened up a few weeks ago, but other than that, Washington was pretty much shut down the whole time, so it was tough to get out in the competition and stuff. So it's definitely a different atmosphere, but I'm glad that I definitely have an opportunity to play every day at home. So
yeah, I want to come back to that too, kind of the preparation and kind of what you think the other guys have been doing to prepare as well. But I'm curious, so you guys are all the way up in the Northwest now. You're traveling obviously all the way down to Tampa. Like, you couldn't go much further across the United States. Is the family coming with you? Is the family staying home? Are you traveling solo? How's that going to work?
Well, we're actually taking this opportunity to be like our first little vacation, and we're all going down, and we're gonna hang out. We're gonna drive to Orlando the week after and go to Disney World and whatnot. So it's our first little vacation as a family. So
nice. That's that's one of the great things about having the U.S. Amateur Championship in Tampa is you don't get much better in terms of vacation destinations. So
yeah, you ain't lying.
That's awesome, man. Well, that's something definitely to look forward to. So you mentioned that you have a 9-foot table at home. So you've been able to practice throughout the pandemic. How much have you been able to compete, though, with other players, get your A game going, that kind of thing?
That's the tough part, because everything being shut down, I've only played 3 or 4 significant tournaments since the pandemic started, and one being the Texas Open. I had to go all the way down to Texas to play. There's luckily a few weeks ago there was a tournament in Montana that I was able to go to. It's a 68-man field and win that. That was pretty good. But that was those two and a couple 20, 30-man tournaments locally. That's all I really got to play since the pandemic. So it's tough to get into that really competitive atmosphere when don't have a chance to.
I'm sure. And did you say you won one of those tournaments? Did I hear that right?
Yeah, a few weeks ago in Kalispell, Montana, there was a big 68-man open 8-ball. I ended up winning. It was pretty good field. Yeah, it was a great turnout.
Yeah, do you think? Does that give you confidence, kind of going into the U.S. Amateur Championship, knowing you haven't played a ton in the last year or so?
Without a doubt, yeah, that was definitely much needed, because it definitely gave me a lot of confidence boost. That's for sure. And it's hard to get confidence when you're not playing. So
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, do you stay in touch with any of the U.S. Amateur Championship guys? I mean, the big X factor in this tournament is like how much has everybody been playing? Who have they been playing? Where have they been playing? You've got states
Right.
that have been shut down for long periods of time. You mentioned Washington just opened back up. You know,
Right.
have you gotten any sense from your fellow competitors, like how they're preparing or anything like that?
See, not really. I mean, I know there's a few guys that are lucky enough that their areas are still wide open and they're going full swing and still playing all the time. But for some of us, they're not. Like, for example, for the people in California, like Brian Parks, how he can't play this year because they're all shut down. Like, that's too bad. But you just got to take all precautions, and different states are doing how they're doing it. But it's yeah, it's I really, like you said, I really haven't kept up to date with a bunch of players as far as how that goes, but
Yeah.
um, I'm gonna be prepared as much as I can be. That's for sure.
Nice. So before we did the interview, I went back and watched, some of your live stream matches from the last U.S. Amateur Championship. And to be honest, man, you really kind of came in and steamrolled the competition. I mean, you capped it off with a dominating performance in the finals. I'm curious, going back to that, like, what were you expecting from the competition that year?
I knew it was gonna be very fierce. I just came in very prepared. I made sure the whole month prior I practiced 4 to 6 hours a day on a 9 foot, and I was really putting the effort and time in, and knowing that if I did that, um, and if I didn't make any like simple mistakes, there's not a whole lot of people that are gonna stop me at that point. But it was just
And,
mainly the preparation I put into it.
and do you feel like your preparation for this year is kind of on par with that experience? I mean, are you using that as kind of your measuring stick?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to keep up with it, but it's kind of tough when you don't have a whole lot of sparring partners or whatnot. You don't really have the the desire to play it 4 or 6 hours a day when we're not playing with somebody. It's kind of tougher, but I'm still trying. Trying my best over here.
Nice. So let's take a look back at the final shot from 2019. I mentioned I went back and watched some of your streams. I had Steve queue up just kind of the last moments of that match. If you could, just kind of, the viewers are going to be able to take a look at it. Just kind of walk us through like your emotions in that moment, what you were thinking, how you handled that last shot, that kind of thing.
Right on. Well, a couple shots prior to that, I had a really tough, like, I think it was a combo carom off another ball, and if I made it, it kind of like opened everything up for me. If I missed it, I probably lost the game. But it was just one of those moments you got to go for it, and I made it, and it kind of just relieved a lot of stress after that shot. Kind of made that 8 ball look a lot easier than it probably should have been, just because the couple shots prior was such a more difficult shot. It made that one look a lot more easy. And I believe, yeah, I sunk it in the bottom right. I think the commentators were talking about going the bottom left there, and I just wanted to make sure I didn't interfere and touch any of the ball with the cue ball, so I just made sure I cinched it to the bottom right there.
Yeah, just to point out, those commentators, Jeremy Jones, Raymond Linares, I'm going to give them a hard time because I'm sure at some point they'll tune in. By the way, Blake, I know you mentioned specifically a goal of competing in the Moscone Cup one day. When we talked in Tampa, Jeremy Jones will be back this year doing the commentary. I mean, how big of a deal is that for you when a guy that has that kind of influence over the Team USA is able to see you play firsthand?
That's a huge influence of why I actually came out and tried in 2019, knowing that he was going to be there and has eyes beyond me, and knowing that he's big deal in the Moscone Cup. So it was basically kind of like a little test run for me to go out there and see what I could do and show him what I can do. So it's a huge thing for have him there, and I think that also draws more people into it, like me thinking like that, So it's an awesome opportunity for everybody that is trying to get that kind of exposure.
Yeah. Is it at all frustrating? I mean, I assume it's got to be frustrating that, you win that event and, the kind of sky's the limit now. You've got all this opportunity ahead of you. I'm sure you were planning to play in the U.S. Open, which obviously was canceled due to the pandemic. How frustrating has it been that you were, you kind of, got to that peak and then everything just kind of shuts down and you just can't compete for a while?
Yeah, it was extremely frustrating because like even 2 weeks after the U.S. Amateur, there was a big bar table tournament in Vegas, and I ended up getting second to Alex Paggy Lyon, and I beat
Nice.
John Mora, Max Eberly, Chris Robson twice. I beat some really tough guys, and I think it was just all that confidence coming from the U.S. Amateur. So like the end of 2019 was all the eyes were on me for 2020, and just everything just boom, just shut down. It was really deflating, but I'm trying to make sure I'm still prepared for when the eyes will be on me again.
Absolutely. I think that's a good philosophy. Blake, only 3 players, at least in the men's division, have ever been able to win back-to-back U.S. Amateur Championship titles. Obviously you're playing in the tournament. I'm assuming your goal is to win, but the opportunity to kind of further elevate your name amongst U.S. Amateur champions of the past, is that something that motivates you or has motivated you in terms of preparing for this particular event?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I want to definitely, that motivates me to win it. But is there anybody who won it 3 years in a row? That's the question.
I don't even think
that's
Brian,
my goal there.
Yeah, I don't even think Brian Parks ever won. I know he won 5, but I don't believe it was 3 years in a row. So that would be quite spectacular. But you got to win 2 first. You got to do the 2.
Exactly.
But I like the way you think. I like the way you think.
One step at a time.
Nice. So speaking of preparation, just again, as you're getting ready this year, you've had a long layoff. You mentioned the Montana event. Any other events that you've been playing in that have helped you along the way, kind of bridge the gap?
There's been like some local ones. I've given a couple lessons, but it's
like 9-foot table events. I should have specified 9-foot tables in particular.
Texas Open was the only 9-foot event since I played since the pandemic. So that's kind of, but luckily I got a 9-foot in my house, like I said. So it's kind of keeps me on toes. But yeah, luckily here in May coming up, I'm going back home in Iowa, where I was Iowa-Illinois border, and playing in a huge 12,000 added my sponsor Davini and Leisure Time Billiards, the pool hall where I shot, are throwing a huge event. And going back home for that, and I'm super pumped up for that. And there's a couple other events like the week before and week after on the road there and stuff. So it should be that's an eventful few weeks there.
Yeah, and I believe you were a rookie at the U.S. Amateur in 2019, right? It was your first time playing in that event. So you kind of came in 2019. I don't know how familiar a lot of the players were with you, but this time around, you come in as the defending champion. Whether you know it or not, man, all eyes are going to be on you come March 19th in Tampa. Are you ready for that kind of attention?
Oh yeah, I love it. That's what I live for. That's all the eyes are on me. That's the best feeling in the world.
Nice. And I had to, when I was going back and looking at some of the stream matches that we did, it looks like you had to kind of wait till a little bit later on in the tournament to get on that stream finally. I'm guessing that's not going to be a problem this time around. You probably be front and center early on.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that's the case.
Nice. And you're ready for all that? You're ready for the pressure that comes with that?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely ready. I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Well, Blake, we wish you the best of luck. We're all looking forward to getting back to tournament play and seeing you and seeing the rest of the field as well. We'll plan to see you in Tampa. For the rest of our audience, want to make sure that you guys know you can tune in here again tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock Central, and I'll be joined by the defending champ in the ladies division, 3-time champion Tina Larson. So until then, we're going to say goodbye to Blake and the rest of you folks. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you right back here tomorrow at 4 p.m. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, everybody.